Edition of Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I'm the Dean, host of the show, and I would like to take this time before we kick off into our mock draft Monday to thank all of the veterans out there. I myself grew up around Washington, D.C., about 20 minutes outside of Annapolis, and just to let you know, both of my grandfathers fought in WW2. My dad was Coast Guard, my brother was Air Force. Matter of fact, my wife's family, her father also served in the Air Force, worked on the B-2 bomber. She currently has a cousin in the Marines. So, from all of us to all of you veterans, thank you for your service. Remember, today especially, if you see a vet, or if you know a vet, have one in your family or in your life as a friend, take time, send them a text, call them, shoot them an email, say thank you for the freedom that we enjoy. So, without further ado, let's get into Mock Draft Monday here on Fantasy Football Academy 2020. So, mock draft, we talked last week about how important it is to do a mock draft. This is basically just practice for the draft that you're going to be in. There are plenty of apps out there that you can use to, simulate your draft. What I use Draft Wizard. I like the setup. I like the flexibility that it gives you. It allows you to do several different types of drafts. You have your standard scoring league that you can set up. You have a half PPR league where we learned earlier that PPR stands for points per reception. So a half PPR is where you get a half a point for every reception. That puts a little more emphasis on the wide receiver and pass catching running backs. Pass catching running backs being, of course, Christian McCaffrey being one of them. So any guys like that is going to be a little more valuable than your normal running backs. So with that said, with Draft Wizard, the setup is quite easy. You're going to download it off of your either your Apple Store or your Google Play Store. Once it's installed, you can set it up however you want. It'll give you options to go for however you want to set up the rankings. You can go off of ESPN. You can go off of CBS. I myself use the NFL.com because I set my league of record up on the NFL.com app. So, the orders that you're going to be picking from, I set it up for a snake draft, which is 1 through 10 and then 10 through 1. Which means that if you are in the top part of the draft, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you're going to be drafting in the bottom half of the second round. So you're going to go 1 to 10 and then 10 to 1. So whoever gets the last pick in the first round gets the first pick in the second round. Now, that's going to be called, you're going to see a lot of the points. You're going to see like a 1.0, 1.6. That's the round that the player is drafted in, along with the number pick in that round. So you're going to see 2.1, you might see a 2.2, things like that. Those are the second round first pick. So the second round first pick is actually the 11th overall. Okay, it'll show you what round you're in. It'll show you what number pick you're on. Now, I do warn you, the only thing about doing mock drafts that I found on Draft Wizard was that if you pick the ones where you start a draft, because it'll have some where you'll see upcoming drafts, and it'll give you a choice, and it'll give you a time and when that draft starts. If you want one that starts immediately when you're ready for it, you will be the only live person drafting. It means you will be the only person drafting in that mock draft. Everything else is going to be computer generated, and they try to randomize it a good bit. They don't go strictly off of the standard settings. which is good. But it gives you a good idea of where everyone's falling. You're also going to see ADP, which, as we've learned before in my previous episodes, is average draft position. That is where players are being taken overall in drafts. I'm going to give you today, we're going to go through 4 players to target based on their situation. Now, here's the thing. You're going to see a lot of Lamar Jackson. You're going to see a lot of Patrick Mahomes that are going to be going early. But that talent level in the quarterback position, especially for fantasy football, is very close. There's not going to be a lot of difference between the third guy taken. Like, a lot of guys are taking Dak Prescott, third quarterback off the board, but he's falling to maybe the 6th, 7th, 8th round. A lot of your experts and people who do broadcasts like this on a regular basis a lot of them are big proponents of taking a quarterback later in the draft and targeting players that are, that can be a little more beneficial for you, wide receivers, running backs, that you wouldn't be able to get later on if you wait. Now, with that being said, if you want to take Lamar Jackson early, if you want to take Patrick Mahomes early, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to try to dissuade you from that if it stays within your game plan. I want you to have a good game plan going into the draft. If you want to target running backs, wide receivers, even if you want to target one of the top flight tight ends who are a high volume tight end like Travis Kelce. Now, here's the thing. Travis Kelce is getting up there. He's getting a little older. So a lot of people are switching him out with George Kittle. Kittle's a little younger. He's just coming on the scene. He had a really big breakout year last year. So he's in a really good situation. So if you want to take Kittle above Kelce, no problem. I understand. Mark Andrews had a breakout year last year with Baltimore. So a lot of those are going to be taken above some wide receivers, some running backs. Now, remember, if you want to do that, if you want to take one of those 3, you're going to be sacrificing in other positions. That's fine as long as you're comfortable with it, okay? Remember, I'm always telling you, take what the draft gives you. Yes, have a plan, but make sure that that plan can be flexible depending upon what you're doing. One of the things about doing a mock draft online, is that it's not with the guys in your area, okay? Remember what I talked about previously. Local flavor is not taken into account during a mock draft. Mock drafts are strictly going to be based on rankings. It's going to be computer simulated, so you can get a feel for it, but it also gives you a feel for being able to think on the fly and change your mind however the draft is going. Keep that in mind and do as many of these mock drafts as you can. I myself do about 3 or 4. I try to do it a day, so just kind of gives me an idea of where guys are falling. I did a few drafts when I started, and I kept seeing that I was forgetting about Austin Eckler, and I loved Awesome Eckler. Yes, I said Awesome Eckler. If you know the guys that I follow on YouTube, the fantasy footballers are one of them. They nicknamed Austin Eckler Awesome Eckler, or actually the Foot Clan did. So, tip of the hat to the Foot Clan. Shout out, guys. Appreciate the work. Now, 4 guys to target in their situations. These are players who are in prime position and are being taken later in the draft. Guys really aren't, players or coaches really aren't thinking about these when they draft in their fantasy drafts. Number 1, I'm going to give you a running back, I'm going to give you a wide receiver, I'm going to give you a tight end, I'm going to give you a quarterback, okay? So, first off the board, of course, from my team, Terry Maclaurin. Scary Terry, as he was nicknamed last year. The reason that he is on my list as a wide receiver to look at later in the draft, he's being undervalued. Okay, not only is he undervalued in fantasy, he is undervalued in real life. Okay, there are not really that many options for wide receivers in Washington. He is the guy. There's going to be a lot of volume, and he went with Case Keenum last year, and he went with Dwayne Haskins. This year he gets Kyle Allen and Dwayne Haskins coming back. So he can be comfortable with both. There started to be a little chemistry there at the end with Maclaurin and Haskins. They used to be teammates. They're just getting into the NFL together. They're growing together. So this could be a very good combo. So something to look at whenever preseason starts kicking off, and we're speaking the truth. We're speaking it into existence here on Fantasy Football Academy 2020 that there will be a season, there will be fantasy football, there will be real life football, okay guys? So think about it, remember it, and mark it down, watch it in preseason. The other one, this is your tight end, and I'm going to be throwing a name out here some of you might not know. Hayden Hearst. That's right, Hayden Hearst. He's with Atlanta. Last year, he was buried behind Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews with Baltimore and Hayden Hearst with Baltimore. They got some work, but Andrews came out and had a little more chemistry with Lamar. Lamar started favoring him a little more. They let Hearst go, and Hearst went down to Atlanta to replace Austin Hooper, who went to Cleveland. Now, I don't think that Austin Hooper is all that. So I'm not going to tell you to go after Hooper. I'm going to tell you go after Hearst. He's not being looked at. Mike Gesicki from Miami is the one that is on everyone's radar. If you listen to any fantasy football show, they will tell you Mike Gesicki, Mike Gesicki, Mike Gesicki. Look, I'm telling you right now, I love that pick. I do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love that pick. It's a great value pick. But one that a lot of people aren't looking at is Hayden Hearst. Mark it down. He's in a very good position. They throw the ball a ton. They're just getting Todd Gurley. We don't know how much they're going to be able to rely on him, especially if he goes down to injury. Matt Ryan loves to throw the ball. Loves to throw the ball around, and he loves his tight end. So keep that name on your mind. He's also already been working with Matt Ryan in the offseason. He's been driving his car from Jacksonville, where he's living, over to Atlanta and working out with Matt Ryan. So he's already developing the chemistry. He's putting the work in. He's getting that feel down. So the next up, this is a rookie, and I love this pick. I love this replacement player. I call him a replacement player because he's basically plugging in to Todd Gurley. That's right, Cam Akers with the Rams. Okay. Look, he's taking over the lead role from Gurley. He's taking the pressure off of Goff. They're going to be trying to set up the pass through the run. You know how much McVay loves to throw the ball, and he's loving a balanced attack. So Cam Akers is giving him what Todd Gurley couldn't last year because of his knees. Remember, I told you, stay away from Todd Gurley and his arthritic knees. Okay, we're not being told something. Think about it, people. Let's be smart. This is school. This is the academy. We're being taught in the academy. We're learning. Okay? So, look out for Cam Akers. He's going to be a phenomenal running back. Okay? Remember, the jump from college to pros for running backs is not as big as it is for wide receivers. Wide receivers is going to take a little more time for them to develop. So all the great rookie wide receivers that you got out there, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, all these guys, and Jefferson for Minnesota. All these guys are going to take a little bit of time to come into their own. Running backs, there's not that much. You get the ball, you go. You follow your blockers, you go. The only thing that running backs have a real big problem with coming from the college to pros is pass protection. Cam Akers, I don't believe, is going to be that big in pass protection, but he will be phenomenal when it comes to running back, okay? So, target him and my quarterback. Yeah, I know. Clinging on to Captain Kirk, giving a salute on Memorial Day for the captain, for my formerly of the Redskins, currently of the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins. Now, Kirk, his ADP is 117, okay? So that means he is the 117th pick off of the board. He is ranked as the 19th quarterback. There are 18 other guys that people are targeting. There's only 10 teams in a league, maybe 12. Okay? So you're talking about this guy isn't even being thought of as a backup. But I'll tell you this. He has one of the best accuracy ratings of anyone since they became a starter. Okay? For the last, 5 years? He's been phenomenal. Now, he's got a new toy in Jefferson out of LSU coming to Minnesota. That's going to be phenomenal. And Jefferson is not walking into a situation where he's going to be asked to be the number one. They've already got a number one. They got Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is going to be phenomenal this year because of that. Kirk Cousins has an outstanding run game. He's got Dalvin Cook behind him. He's got Masterson behind him. Okay? These guys can run the ball. They are a run-first offense. He's got a phenomenal defense. Okay? He won't have to throw it everywhere. And Kirk Cousins has already said that he wants to run the ball more. So, boom, got more plays on the ground with Kirk Cousins. Give me a little extra there at the goal line. Okay? Something else he wants to throw into his game. Whether or not he's going to do it or not, I don't know. But he's got a top 5 running back. He's got a top 10 defense. He is primed to have an outstanding year. Okay? And he's been durable as all get out. Let's knock on wood for that. Okay? So, we're going to riled up the dog there. So, let's keep an eye on Kirk Cousins. Remember, these are your targets, 4 targets for fantasy football, late draft. Terry Maclaurin, wide receiver. Hayden Hearst at tight end. Cam Akers, running back. And Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Look, if the draft doesn't give you what you want, you take what it does give you. Okay? So, let's go out there. Let's have a good, happy, and safe Memorial Day. And yeah, this is kind of a weird Memorial Day for everybody. So listen, if you're going to be out there, let's mask up. Let's be safe. And remember, we're not the only ones out there having a good time. So let's be considerate of one another. And remember, think of vet for your freedom. This has been the Dean with Fantasy Football Academy 2020. Have a good Memorial Day, everybody.